So how I kind of was doing schmex work without even realizing it, I was charging men for hookups. Like, by that I mean, in the beginning, before I learned how to vet better, and before I realized that I gotta demand that they center my O, or they don't get any of me, before I learned all that, I would just go into it thinking, okay, they seem cool, seem respectful, they're not gonna me, probably, I don't know. By the way, I pulled over, I'm riding my bike right now, I pulled over in the sunset to tell y'all the story, because I have ADHD brain. If I don't do it now, I will literally forget to do it. So here we go. Anyway, I had several hookups where it was like fine, but they didn't like lick my, and I didn't owe. And I'm like, what was the point of that? Like, what was the point of that? And at this point, I had even stopped going to dinner with them, because like my time is valuable. I don't want to sit through a whole dinner just to hook up with you. Like, that's more time. You know, and there's plenty of people on apps who literally just want to have a good time hooking up, and they want nothing more. That was me. I was like, but every time I'm like, what was the point of that? What was the point? All of that time texting, vetting, you know, blah, blah, and for nothing. So what my breaking point was when I ended up hooking up with this Dutch dude. He was like a DJ or sound engineer or something. I don't remember. He was staying in this fancy Hollywood hotel, and he convinced me to go drive out to him. Another mistake. Like, okay, I understand why people don't want them coming to your house, but also, like, I'm lazy. I'm not lazy, but like, I'm lazy when I'm not even sure I'm gonna get anything out of this, right? But I went over there, I got on the 101. Okay, that's a lot. Got on the 101, took me like, I don't know, half hour, 40 minutes to get there. I get there and there's no parking. This is in like downtown Hollywood. For anyone who's never lived in LA, Hollywood is not a nice place. It is a disgusting place. It is not the kind of place that you just want to hang out, okay? Not at night. And it's also not where movies are made. It's just literally like the tourist part of town, right? But anyway, this was a nice hotel in Hollywood. We go up to his hotel, and then he offers me beverages from his refrigerator, you know, and of course, I don't drink. So I was like, I'll take a water. So then we talk, and then we hook up, and he doesn't go down on me because that's too intimate for him. He only does that with girlfriends. Okay. I mean, I didn't go down on him, but I shouldn't have to. You're already getting laid. Anyway, so then I was like, well, can we just at least cuddle for a little bit? And this is like such a Dutch thing. Dutch people are so direct. I appreciate that, but it's a little bit, sometimes it's to a fault. What the hell's that? And he was like, no, I only do that with girlfriends. It's too intimate. I'm like, dude, you were literally just inside of me, but you won't spoon me? And he was like, no. So before I had arrived at his hotel and I figured out there's no parking, I had texted him and I'd said, hey dude, like, there's no parking on the street. It's like $20 to park. Will you pay since I came all the way out here? And he's like, yeah, of course. So when it's time to leave, I had totally forgot about this. And he's like, oh, by the way, do you want that $20? Now, after I'd sent that text, I'd actually found street parking a block away. Lucky me. And I was like, why, yes, I will. Because in that moment, I was like, yeah, give me $20. I didn't get anything from this. And I spent gas money and time. This is literally a waste of my time. And my time is valuable. And I literally just showed up at this man's hotel as if I'm a schmegs worker, but without getting paid. And this is not a diss on schmegs workers. I love schmegs workers. And I think that they should be at the center of conversations around feminism because they understand men more than anybody. So this is just literally being like, what the hell was this? Why didn't he, like this was free for him. He got everything. I got nothing. So it became my parking lot scheme. The next hookup, I went, I don't know, half hour away to this dude's hotel room. This is like a French Canadian guy, and he like gave me a foot massage. First of all, as soon as I got there, I was like, there's no parking. And then again, I found parking after sending that because it was true, there was no parking. He gave me a foot massage. He ate me out. I mean, the schmegs was okay. It was fine. And then when it was time to leave, also, he had said, he had told me he thought I was selfish. He's like, can I give you some feedback? Do you ever like feedback? And I was like, no. And he's like, well, no, it's not a criticism. It's just like, you're kind of a little selfish. And I was like, that's funny. You should say that because up until my late 30s, not a single man ever gave me an O or cared about my pleasure. So if being selfish is having you eat me out and give me a foot massage, if that's selfish, then yeah, I'm selfish. Sorry, dude. This is like payback. He's like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Because he had that little attitude. When I was about to leave, he's like, oh, but do I owe you parking money? I was like, yeah. He gave me $40. I was like, darn, $40. And then I did it again with another dude. I went all the way to Santa Monica. Now that is Like 45 minutes. And this guy was American, and I usually don't hook up with US Americans because they're usually too violent and too insecure and just insane. They usually don't pass any of my tests. But this guy was like from Boston. He seemed so really sweet. It was fine, but he was so loud. He was just like, I was like, whoa, bro. I hate silent guys, but like, this is like so uncomfortable for me. And he didn't go down on me. So I charged him parking money. And then he was like, well, didn't you park in the garage like I told you to? And I was like, and I was like, oh crap. I was like, no, I forgot. I parked down the street. And he's like, okay. And he gave me 20 bucks. So then I was like, why am I charging these men? And I was like, oh, right. Because I don't feel valued. They're not even buying me dinner, which I don't want because that's my time. They're not doing anything for me. Even Canada guy, like guilted me for having pleasure. So I'm like, and then I was like, wait a second, if I'm charging men for this and they're hanging out with a really cool girl and getting like free therapy, because I swear to God, I should have been like a, hookup / life coach at the same time, because after hooking up with me, they'd like quit the job they hated, or like some major life move, and they'd always text me like, thank you so much for your advice. I was doing all this for free. And so after that, like when I almost got busted with my little parking lot scheme, I was like, what is this really about, Melody? And I was like, they're wasting my time and they don't value me. And I don't want to get paid because this is worth more than $20. Right? And I'm like, I know what it is. From now on, I will not hook up with a man if he does not give me an O. So I'm going to use my toy, right? If he fails at licking but he has to lick my first. He has to make an effort. He has to earn access into me by taking care of the gate, And a lot of men, so I would literally get it in writing. You like to eat. And if they were like, yeah, I'd be like, cool, because I need you to do that before because I can't get off just with that, like, alone. And they'd be like, sure, yeah, I love to eat. If they were like, no, then I'd just like block them, unmatch, whatever, because that reeks of entitlement. And if they're like, well, are you going to go down on me? I'd be like, no. Because you're already getting laid. Like I'm telling you right now, I can't get off that way. So these are the terms. And if they're like, okay, that's fair enough, then they, sure. But if they're like, well, that doesn't seem fair, block. So anyway, from that point on, every single hookup I had an O. Every single one. Either from them, or if they did that and I couldn't get off because they just weren't very good at it and didn't take instructions well, then I'd pull out my toy, and do all my while we're having, and I get off that way. And I vetted much harsher. Now, every once in a while, someone would get through my, the fishing net, tuna net. Oh, that's weird. My firewall, whatever. But overall, I had really amazing experiences on Tinder because I became so bold and demanded that they center me. I am the one with an inbox full of men begging to hook up with me. What are you going to do for me, bro? Because I also have a toy you're competing with. So if you want access to me and my body and my thoughts and my humor, because I tell a lot of jokes, I make you laugh, you better do something for me too. I'm sorry, but men have been making this stuff transactional for so long. And when it comes to hookups, that's kind of what it is, at least in the US. Relationships is different, but a hookup, yeah, make it transactional because we're giving this away for free. And I got tired of it. I was becoming resentful. I should have charged more than $20, y'all. And God bless Schmegs workers and what y'all do and what you put up with. Hardest job in the world. And y'all look at this sunset. Look at this. Oh my God, look at that. Ah!